Welcome to Magic Arcanum. I'm Ryan Gomez. Behind the scenes is Nicole Burdick, and we're so glad you're here because it's story time. And our story today is a fun one because it tells the tale of how people thought I was crazy when I said Sire of Seven Deaths was going to be a powerful card when it entered Standard with Foundations, and now I've got a deck ready that can put this bad boy into play on turn 4, and most opponents just scoop at that point, really, so I can't wait to show you. But first, a quick word about the sponsor of this video, Into the AM. Longtime fans of the channel probably know I've been sponsored by Into the AM for quite a while now, but what you might not know is that every time somebody places an order using my link down in the description, or when they enter promo code Magic Arcanum at checkout, I get an email telling me that that has happened, and those are my favorite emails to get, so huge thanks to everyone who has supported the channel by picking something up from Into the AM over the last, 5 years. If you haven't done that yet, though, now is a great time to start. They just rolled out 8 new designs to end the year on a high note. This one's my favorite. It's called Space Saga. You know how much I love sagas. It's got like a cool retro vintage spaceman thing going out. I just really dig it. These shirts are super comfortable. They fit great. They wash up nice, and they feel amazing. And I want all of you to experience that too. I want you to experience this so much that we're giving you 10% off your entire order when you use promo code Magic Arcanum or the link down in the description. They've got everything: t-shirts, hats, hoodies, jackets, sweatpants, underwear, you name it. You can outfit yourself with everything you need to hit 2025 ready for battle. So yeah, again, big thanks to everyone who has used Into the AM already. The cool thing is, never once has somebody emailed or messaged me to say that they were unhappy with their order. So that tells me that out of the hundreds of sales that have gone through, you guys like this stuff as much as I do. So get on there, check them out today, use my link in the description, or use promo code Magic Arcanum at checkout for 10% off, and get yourself ready for the new year. Big thanks once again to Into the AM for sponsoring this video and the channel. It has been a delight to wear these shirts. I could talk about them all day, but we don't have time for that because we've got cards to show. Let's get to it. Okay, what we have here is a mono black deck simply called Sired, named after the Sire of Seven Deaths, the Eldrazi way up here at the top end, that we are hoping to cheat into play as early as turn 4. And we've got a couple of different ways to do that. So the cool part about this deck, to me, is the redundancy. There are so many ways to get this thing into the graveyard, and then so many more ways to get it into play without paying 7 mana. But we can also just get to 7 and use treasures or whatever to make this possible and hard cast it if we need to, although I'm hoping to avoid that. Let me show you how. So first of all, we do have some copies of Cut Down in here. I mean, those are just necessary to buy us a turn against the aggressive decks, the red and the white stuff. But once you get past that, we've got Bitter Triumph, okay? As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card or pay 3 life, destroy a creature or a planeswalker. Well, we are almost always discarding a card, and we've got so many to pick from. Really, the 4 copies of Sire of Seven Deaths, which, as I've said, is a 7/7 first strike, vigilance, menace, trample, reach, lifelink, and it has ward that makes our opponent pay 7 life. So if this makes it to the table, even if they kill it immediately, it still is going to hurt them, which makes it one of my favorite big beat sticks. And I know that like Valgavoth and other stuff is out there, but we are going on the Sire game plan here. However, having just 4 of them isn't quite enough, so we're getting a little bit of help from Cityscape Leveler, which also is great to just intentionally discard because it has Unearth, so we can get this one back a myriad of ways, but it is normally an 8 cost 8/8 with trample, and if we cast it, hard cast it, or whenever it attacks, we get to destroy a non-land permanent and replace it with a tapped Power Stone token, which is insane. This is how our deck answers enchantments, among other things. And then we've also got Phyrexian Fleshgorger in here, which is really quite similar to the Sire, but a little bit weaker because it only has Menace, Lifelink, and a ward of effectively 7 life. but only 5 toughness, and it doesn't have like the first strike and all the other cool stuff. So really, ideally, we're bringing back the Sire, but we've got another 4 targets between the Levelers and the Fleshgorgers, and the Bitter Triumphs is just the first of several ways we can intentionally put these bad boys into our graveyard. I'm also running a couple copies of Deep Cavern Bat. This is just generically good almost at any point in the game. A little bit of lifelink, flying. It's hard to swat this guy down. We get to look at our opponent's hand. We get to nab something that might mess up our own game plan. So always feels great to have a bat available. And then I have the Nullpriest of Oblivion package. So these are another cheap lifelink menace creature, which I can play on turn 2 if I need to, again, buy time against something that's really aggressive. Or I can sit on this one until I've got 6 mana available and then kick it when I play it. And then it gets to just have a free Zombify attached to it. So we get to bring back any of our giant stuff out of the graveyard. Another way we can put those cards into the graveyard intentionally is with Collector's Vault, and this one also ramps us by making treasure tokens every time we use it. So we play this like on turn 2, turn 3, we get to use it, discard something, make a treasure, and then hopefully that helps us find one of our reanimation spells while also stocking the graveyard. And even if it doesn't, it still just builds us up to like 7 or 8 mana over time anyway, so that we can play our big stuff ahead of schedule. Another way that we can cheat things into play is with Abyssal Harvester, a 3 mana 3/2 demon warlock that says tap, exile target creature card from a graveyard that was put there this turn, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a nightmare. And then if you do it again, you gotta get rid of all your other nightmares. So you can only do this once, but like, hey man, that's fine. You play this guy on turn 3, on turn 4, or when his summoning sickness has worn off, you can then Bitter Triumphs your opponent's best creature and strategically discard your Leveler or your Sire and then immediately just put it into play effectively. Like, I know it's not the exact same thing, but it works out great. Just trust me. We also can just straight up play a 4 mana sorcery Zombify to return any creature from our graveyard to the battlefield, which means we can get back any of our 8 bombs for like half price, which is insane. And then if the game does end up getting to 7 mana, we've got Virtue of Persistence in here, which will just bring back something every turn once we stick that on the table. And oh yeah, the adventure half of it, Locthwain's Scorn, serves as removal and life gain, which lets us continue to stay in the game long enough to get to our haymakers. So lots of overlapping pieces here between small removal, cards that intentionally discard cards so that we can stock our graveyard, cards that can get stuff back out of the graveyard with the priests and the harvesters and the zombifies and the virtues. And if all of that fails, we just wait until we get to like 7 mana and then we just hardcast these things, and then like no deck can beat them easily. It's been working out great for me so far. I actually made it to platinum ranked with this list already. We're going to show you some more games here today and hopefully crush some people who are just not prepared for this amount of beef hitting the battlefield as early as turn 4. Let's see how it goes. Okay, here we go. Standard, ranked, best of 1, 3 swamps, a Sire, a Zombify, and the Collector's Vaults to put the Sire in the bin so we can then Zombify it. This is what we want to do. Let's try and make it happen. Opponent opens with an island. We answer back with a swamp. Into a Shivan Reef. Ooh, what's this tricky little guy? Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, 1 damage to each opponent. Well, we could just get rid of that right now with Virtue. Could also just get rid of it with Bitter Triumph and use that to discard our Sire. I think I like doing that the most. So that puts Sire in the bin. We've got 1 more land in hand. If we could just draw 1 more. Although I guess if our opponent's got blue, we do got to worry a little bit about counter magic, but whatever. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's see how they feel about Collector's Vault. They do not like Collector's Vault. Okay, so now we know. I would rather they burn on that than this Zombify. Let's try Collector's Vault number 2. And it remains 3 steps ahead. Okay, well. Again, we gotta use these things up. We find land number 4. Do we think they have a third counterspell? I'm afraid they do, so I'm gonna just try playing this Fleshgorger in prototype mode and see what they do with that. They had a third 3 steps. Our opponent was 9 steps ahead of us this game, or so they think. They are missing lands. Oh dear. Okay. Well, do they have their 4th 3 steps ahead? Please don't. Okay. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them in your hand, the rest on the bottom. Cool. So that pretty much means this guy's resolving. And then blue-red is going to have a really hard time getting rid of it. I mean, they don't want to bounce it. That's 7 life. They can't burn it, and they scoop it. There we go. That's it, baby. Sire of Seven Deaths claims the first victim. Let's go again. Okay, amazingly, we've got 3 lands. Zombify, Sire, and Vault. Again, this is beautiful. Let's see if we can get lucky another time here. Leading off with the Swamp. Opponent Plains Authority. Oh no, our behemoth will come in tapped. That's a real shame. Okay, Collector's Vault. And we found a 4th land, so all we really gotta do, use turn 3 to discard the Sire, and then turn 4 we get to bring it back. And unless they've got like a board wipe or something, it's gonna be really hard for them to answer this guy in mono white. Alright, backup Zombify. That's even better, so yeah, we'll use the Vault. Pick up another Swamp. Discard our Eldrazi. Okay, opponent, you have like 1 turn here to exile our graveyard or figure out a strategy. Alright, they've got red as well, so they're not mono-white, but red doesn't really help a whole lot either. I think we Zombify our Sire. Let's see what they say about that. Comes in tapped. They gain 1 life. Totally fine. How do you feel about a turn 4 7/7 with First Strike, Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Reach, Lifelink, and Ward? And note, like if this had been Valgavoth, right, and then that also has Ward, they would have to sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. Like they have that, so like they would be able to just deal with the demon, but this is going to be much harder for them, right? I mean, they make a bunch of little tokens. This guy's got Menace. I don't think we need extra vaults. So really the question now is just, do we try to kill Elspeth or do we hit their life total? I guess I want to get this Planeswalker out of here. Or force him to burn up a lot of tokens. I mean, we have Trample, right? So that did nothing! I'm gonna hold this other Vault in hand just in case I need more discard fodder later. Sunfall. Okay, well, let's go digging. Nullpriest. Triple Nullpriests. I guess we don't need all of those. Play the land. So, like, we don't really have anything to bring back yet, so I guess we'll play the other Vault and just spin the wheel again. Deep Cavern Bat. Alright, well, we'll discard yet another Priest. And I guess I might as well play this Bat out. So we can take away board. What is with all of these board wipe decks, man? I don't get it. I've been seeing so many of them lately. Is this where we're at in Standard? You just play like every board wipe now? Every deck's a control deck? Alright, they incubate, which means they're less likely to use their temporary lockdowns. Nope. Okay. So it does rob us of our treasures. We got a Cityscape Leveler, We could use our Nullpriest to bring back another Nullpriest. That doesn't really feel worth it. Because then they'll just Sunfall the pair. So I guess we just wait. And the opponent's gonna wait. So we'll play Swamp. Pass. So that gives us 7. If we get to 8, we get to play the Leveler, and it has a when played trigger. We could pop their lockdown and get back like all of our stuff, but then they're still holding another lockdown and a Sunfall. So well, I don't know. If we play the Leveler, pop the lockdown, we get our bat back. That could grab the Sunfall. Maybe we're not in terrible spot. We just need one more land. Ugh. And again, not really anything down here yet to bring back with the Nullpriest or the Zombify, but we still have 23 life, so like we're not in huge trouble. Just have to be patient. Okay. Skrelv's Hive, sure. 7 for a Sire straight up. That's probably going to force him to pop that Sunfall, right? Well, maybe not if they're making tokens. Okay, sure. They just wanted a big incubator. I can buy that. Alright, so we'll play this Harvester. Not sure if he's going to get a chance to really do much, but really we just need to find an 8th land, and then these levelers become insane. And still at 19, so we can take the hit from this token, go to 14. Fleshgorger? Sure. Okay, opponent decides to get lost the Harvester. Swings out. They get the Battle Cry buff. We go to 2. Okay, Virtue actually is great because that's going to potentially represent even more life here. Probably picking off this Evangelist, I guess. And then we attack, and this is going to be good for 7. Puts us to 11. So they've got 5, 6, 7. They can do 8 to us potentially. The frustrating bit here, of course, is that, I mean, I guess we should have done this before combat if we were going to do it at all, but... Ooh. I mean, I guess that's worth drawing, right? I don't know. This is kind of tough. But yeah, we probably should have buffed that. We would have got more life out of it if we'd done that first. But I wasn't sure if I was going to follow up with a different spell. I guess we probably should have actually gotten this out of the way because we really want an 8th land so that we can pop this lockdown. That's what I should have done. Okay, take a pretty big hit. Are they going to wipe the board again? Or let me attack for 8 with a lifelinker? Interesting. Alright, so let's use this map now. We do find another land, so that brings us back to 7. Okay. So now if I play the Sire, it comes in tapped. I could play the Virtue, and then next turn my stuff doesn't really get... I don't get anything good enough off of the Virtue, is what I'm saying. So we'll play the Sire. I know it comes in tapped, but if they can't deal 11 damage to us, then maybe we're still okay. I mean, they've got 7 showing right now. But if they attack with everything, then we just kill them on the backswing. So they probably are attacking and then sun falling again, if I had to guess. Okay. Well, we can play this Leveler, but it's going to come into play tapped, so we won't be able to block this Incubator. So we have to play this Leveler and use it to blow up the Incubator token so that they can't kill us. Now, if they don't blow up the Leveler, then we get to attack with it and pop the lockdown, and then the wheels come off. They've got an Elspeth.
We can save everyone.
Sure. We draw a cut down. Okay. So I think we attack, we blow up lockdown, which gets us a bat. Sure. Do we take away their other lockdown, or do we take away this Elspeth? I think we take away the lockdown. Okay. So they take 8. And so now I play this Cityscape Leveler and blow up their only creature, although I guess they could make another one, and then they're going to be able to buff it with Elspeth. So either way, like, she was going to buff somebody, or okay. Can they make a fish? They'd have to... No, they didn't have enough to make a fish token. So maybe we're okay. They've got the Forge. Oh, God. When does this pop? At the beginning of combat. So they can't even, like, double play their Elspeths to give it extra counters. So, okay, we are hanging in there unless our opponent finds a line or finds another board wipe. They're sacking tokens. They're drawing deep. They've only got 2 mana left. They create a soldier. They're giving us the GG. We got there with Mono Black Sire once again. All right, that one was gritty. That was dirty. I didn't enjoy that. But I'm glad we got the V for victory, so I'll take it. Let's do one more. All right, Mono Black Sire. We've got some swamps, a Triumph, a Zombify, a Vault, and our B-String Sire, Fleshgorger. Still pretty good, still keepable. And if our opponent's deck matches their Vivian avatar and they're just mono green, I think we're going to be okay, because they're not going to be able to fight their way through this thing, but never judge a book by its cover. Swamp kicks things off. Opponent, what do you got for me? Okay, they've got a mountain and a scamp. Ooh, this might be harder than I had thought. Collector's Vault, let's go. So I think we still try to discard this and then zombify it against mono red. I mean, Even if this hits just once and we gain 7, that's gotta be enough, right? Like... Alright, well they found a second mountain, and they're thinking about what they're gonna do with it. Swift Spear, oh gosh. Mirror and Blade Splitter, okay. Attaches to the Scamp. Gets in for 5. And they sacked the Scamp already to squeeze in another 3. Wow. Okay. So I think we still vault here. Nullpriest is good. We discard Fleshgorger. And now thanks to the treasure, we can Bitter Triumph this Swift Spear if we need to. And we'll still have a 4th land to Zombify and get back a 7/5 lifelink. So I'm feeling pretty confident. Mostly because I'm wearing Into the AM, which always makes me confident. Alright, they've got Monstrous Rage. Do we just kill this right now in response? I think so. We will bop you, pay for it, and I think we can discard this Harvester. He's not looking too helpful here. I don't want to pay life, because if I go like any lower, we're cooked. Alright. Opponent. Nothing. That dies. That fizzles. We hit a swamp. We cast Zombify. We bring back our Fleshgorger, which is, again, just a poor man's Sire of Seven Deaths, but seems pretty good against 2 mountains. Are they gonna scoop? Nope. They're gonna go to their draw step. Oh, ooh, okay. They've got black mana. And they have plotted a slick shot show off. Say that one 3 times fast. Let's run the vault. It's a swamp. Alright, well I don't think we need that here. We'll get in for 7. That's gotta hurt. We go back up to 19. Tables are definitely turning. I mean, things I'm worried about are like Shieldred's Edict, right? Like, they don't want to pay 7 life to kill this. They've got a show off, but we're holding a cut down. And it is unlikely one bird can do 19 damage, right? Heartfire Hero, sure. Challenger, sure. I think we're gonna pop this Challenger and take 1. Great. Run the vault again. Draw, discard another vault. Sure. So we've got 6. That's enough to kick our Nullpriest, but we don't have any good targets for it, so we'll just hold on to that. Gain another 7. And we're up to 25 and our opponent has 6. They've got to deal with this Fleshgorger somehow, even if that just means leaving 2 blockers up. But they go for the Felonious Rage, buff up their hero, buff up their slick shot. 7 damage is still a long way from 25. Monstrous Rage helps. Woof. Now we've got a dozen. Halfway there. Are we getting ready to fling this guy? No. All right. Well, then, I think this is game. 3 wins. It's that easy. You just put stuff in your graveyard, then you take it out of the graveyard, and you win. So let's put the deck up one more time, and we'll do some final thoughts. Okay, so obviously this one is not budget friendly, right? Not in terms of wild cards or probably not real cash. I mean, there's a lot of mythics between the levelers, the sires, Virtue of Persistence, and the Fleshgorgers. Like, your entire top end is like really expensive. The rest of this, though, I mean, I don't think Nullpriest is too bad. It's a rare that's been reprinted. You got Harvesters. And then you have your important pieces like Collector's Vault, Bitter Triumph, things that actually put stuff into your graveyard. Those are pretty budget friendly, but I mean, the payoffs are all expensive, and for a good reason. These are powerful cards that win games, right? I mean, you could substitute in something else. This could be Valgavoth, it could be Atraxa, it could be whatever you want. I just wanted to use the Sire because I had talked about this card specifically in my video on the Planeswalkers of Foundations, and I wanted to kind of put my money where my mouth was, right? And show that this deck could absolutely just crush people if they don't respect the turn 4 Zombify. Overall, pretty happy with it. It is a bit of a one-trick pony, right? Like, you do need to hit your lands and have a way to discard a bomb and then have a way to reanimate it, and you just kind of do that, and then your opponent usually scoops, or you get like 1 or 2 attacks in. But there are also games that can go really, really long, and you get into this drawn-out slugging match where you're playing your haymakers and then bringing them back with Virtue of Persistence, and the game just kind of turns into something else. So every once in a while you get that, but most of the time you're either like basically winning on turn 4 or 5, or they exile your graveyard, or they've got, the answer for your vault because they have a main board tear apart or something. And then you're just kind of stuck. So it's a fun deck, but I cannot in good conscience recommend spending the cash or wild cards if you don't already have them in your collection. It's probably not going to lead to a good time. But if you've already got, bombs that you want, and you can afford the Zombifies because those are just uncommon, Collector Vault uncommon, and then Bitter Triumph uncommon. So like most of this deck is pretty affordable. You could, like I said, use other bombs. You could do black and green and put some giant green creatures in here and still be able to hard cast them. I just like the simplicity of 24 swamps and then a bunch of colorless, game ending giant creatures with lifelink or the ability to blow up stuff. Because these things hit, they slap, they trample our opponent straight into an early grave. And that's a fun story to tell. If you've enjoyed this story, you can help me out by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And while you're down there clicking on those buttons and monkeying around, make sure you visit Into the AM, our sponsor, and save yourself 10% on your entire order using my link or promo code Magic Arcanum at checkout. I love these shirts. I think you'll like them too. Let me know in the comments what you think. And then tell me what you like or don't like about this deck. Are you going to try it? You're going to put your own twist on it? You're going to be on the naughty list this holiday season and just, ruin somebody else's day by getting that turn 4 Sire of Seven Deaths? There's no coming back from that. They can't answer that. It's insane. Thanks for watching. On behalf of me and Nicole, have a Happy New Year and celebrate the holidays, whatever makes sense for you, however you like to do it. I mean, I'm a big Christmas guy. I'm allowed to say that. It's my channel. So Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate. I hope you've all had a great year and are excited for 2025. But if that's not your thing, may you find peace and joy in whatever you do and wherever life takes you. That's what we're here for. That is the story behind the stories behind the cards. We'll see ya.